Welcome into another edition of the 615 Sessions podcast. Happy Friday. It's a beautiful day here in Middle Tennessee and an interesting game coming up for the Tennessee Titans. You're going to hear from Javon Kearse, Titans legend, and all-pro safety Kevin Byard. A couple of conversations I had this week and an update on what the injury report looks like. Any progress on Danico Autry and maybe a development at left tackle. How about that for a tease? Before we do all these things, Two Rivers Ford makes this podcast possible. They're the best. Simple as that. They go above and beyond. They've done that for nearly 40 years. In fact, we're coming up on the 40th year of Two Rivers Ford award-winning customer service. No matter how you like to shop, they always make it fast, easy, and fun for you. And the 2023 model year Fords, they're available on the lot right now. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet, or online at tworiversford.com. So, let's hear from Javon and Kevin Byard first, then we'll talk about some injuries. Let's talk to Javon Kearse. Man, I don't think we've ever had you on the show. We've not been on the air that long, Javon, but I feel like this is an egregious mistake by us, so I feel like I should start this by apologizing to you.
Well, I truly accept your apology, and you know what? I think you was just saving me for the right time, and I'm happy to be on no matter when I'm on.
I know you still pay attention to what the Titans got going on, and we're just talking about just the rash of injuries around here, man, and how much guys play through to get through a season. I can't imagine some of the worst injuries that you played through or that you saw teammates play throughout the course of a season. Is there any that comes to mind that were particularly memorable?
I mean, honestly, the most memorable, I would say, guy that was playing through injuries, who was number 9 that put on that Titan two-tone blue, was my big brother, Steve McNair.
Yeah.
That year that he got co-MVP with Peyton, that year right there was, I forgot, I'm not exactly sure what injury he had that season, but this guy couldn't practice through the week. He could barely even walk through the week, and he did not practice through the week. And some reason, for some way, he would show up game time and be out there running around like Superman. And I don't know what he was on or what they put in him, but the feat that he went through, because he was beat up that season. Neil O'Donnell had to come in and play quite a bit for us, and then he got to the point where he was back, when Steve was back on the field, he would literally wasn't practicing. He'll come out for walkthrough during the week, and all our walkthrough sessions, but after that he didn't practice at all physically. And then on Sundays, man, he got up there and ran around, and I have the ultimate respect for that dude right there. Whatever he was on, they need to bottle that up and give something to all football players, every single last one of them.
Well, I mean, every one of you is insane to do the job that you do. It's crazy to watch the kind of stuff that you guys put yourself through, and to your point about bottling that thing up, it's just such an intangible quality that to make even guys in your sport where you're all going through similar things and have the risk of any kind of injury, to look at certain players in even a greater respect because of that. It's something that obviously the dynamic around injuries right now, Javon, that just changed so much.
And true enough, we all get injured through the season. Like what you said earlier, we all get beat up. It's just a matter of when it happens through the season, because we don't have enough time to let an injury seriously heal. You may look up and have an injury right before the bye week, which that'll give it some time there. But besides that, I would say from week 8 on through the rest of the season, and maybe even before that. But I would say from week 8 through the rest of the season, everybody's playing through some type of injury. It's just a matter of yours nagging more than someone else's, or if you can afford to take some time off here or there with somebody that's backing you up or backing them up or whatever.
Titans legend Javon Kearse is here with us on behalf of the NFL alumni and the Tennessee Department of Health, the Gear Up Tennessee campaign, out here providing COVID-19 vaccine awareness and education. So to do what this Titans team has done this year, Javon, and again going back to last year where it's it's literally record-setting rate of injury, and with the way that guys are out of the lineup now in 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, it wasn't as heavily monitored, or it didn't seem like guys missed as much time as they did now for one reason or another. to have that many parts missing and to still find ways to lead a division and try and keep this thing competitive. What does that say to you about the way that they're able to operate at this point under Mike Vrabel?
That says a lot about the coaching right there. The coaching provides the culture. If they got the culture there, like I say, we've been talking about injuries this whole time. Guys are going to get injured. That's going to be part of the game, but it's just a matter of how you work through those injuries. And, they've been taking some rough ones the past 3 weeks, losing the teams and literally making those quarterbacks players of the week in their respective conferences and whatnot. But outside of that spectrum right there, it's just like if they got the culture right, like you just got to move past it. Like I say, like Steve would get hurt all the time. Eddie would be hurt when I played. I would be hurt sometimes, whatever. But it's just a matter of bouncing back from that, and then you get a chance to let your number twos, your number threes, to have a chance to go out there and make a name for themselves. And then by the time this thing gets to the playoffs, because they still have a chance to get into the playoffs, even though they only have a 2-game lead over the Jaguars. They still gonna. I'm certain that they're gonna still represent the what is it, the AFC South.
Yeah, that's what it is nowadays.
yeah, they're still gonna represent the AFC South when it comes to the playoffs. And then at that point, they should have all the moving parts back together.
Hey, I saw Bullock on the sideline of the Houston game when you guys, I think it was part of the Titans Foundation. Y'all flew down there with a couple of people who were kind enough to donate some money to charity. Who had a better time that weekend, you or Bullock?
You know what? I think I had a better time.
Oh, really?
I'm just saying the group of guys that we were with were pretty cool, and one of the guys had just beat cancer.
Awesome.
So, it was awesome time just hanging with these guys. And, like, the way that thing came about was literally Keith and I were just hanging out at the Titans charity auction, and before you know it, these guys were bidding on a flight to Houston. I'm like, I want to get on a private plane and go to Houston and see the Titans kick some butt, and it ended up happening.
Absolutely. Javon Kearse, Titans legend, kind enough to make some time with us on behalf of the Gear Up Tennessee campaign. They're doing great work, the NFL alumni in the community, and this is just a part of it. Javon, thank you so much for stopping by, man. It was good to chat, and we're definitely going to have to bother you again if you don't mind at some point down the line. Kevin Byard. All right, so you and Roger, that's a good place to start. You and Roger been out there for every snap this year, almost, Kevin. Mm-hmm. It's been a slog for you guys again, but I think the thing that kind of catches me up, how do you kind of keep everybody focused? Because you're one of these voices in the locker room, you have been for some time, that is kind of the rudder, one of the rudders to the ship, right? So when we talk about Buffalo and these player only meetings that you guys brought up and stuff like that, like, what is the kind of theme that keeps everybody moving in the same direction where it would be very easily to get distracted or maybe lose focus?
Yeah, man, I would start off by saying it's definitely tough. I mean, obviously, being in this building, having so much success we've been having, to lose 3 straight games this late in the year, it's challenging for guys to kind of wrap their head around it as far as, you kind of try to want to keep guys just focusing on, the positives and just keep working towards, our main goal, which is still win the division, go to the playoffs. But for me personally, it's just like, first of all, being consistent. And not just consistent with my play on the field, but being consistently out there, being available, being consistent in my meeting room habits, my recovery habits. When the guys kind of continue to see the same person over and over again, it's kind of easy to trust or try to follow their lead. So that's what I try to be, the same person every single day, my positive attitude, my mentality, how I go about my day, to try to be the same person every single day. So, but that's one way that I just try to, keep everybody focused and try to keep everybody, on this same path of, we're just moving forward. Yeah, last week we had we didn't show out well against Jaguars. So the only thing we can do to change that is go out and have a good showing in LA.
So with LA, I mean, Herbert out, not even just the game, because obviously he had a fantastic one, as I'm sure you've seen from the Dolphins, and he's obviously a highly effective player, but the way that they were able to basically move the launch point, some of it by design, it looked like, Kevin, and some just out of necessity because he's trying to get out on the move, how accurate he was from outside the pocket. What kind of plays to his strengths that way when you watch that tape back?
Justin Herbert has, like, I've said it yesterday in the locker, I feel like he has the best arm in the NFL. Do you remember the old Madden when Mike Vick was on the cover? Matter of fact, this was after Mike Vick. This was Madden when I think it was McNabb, and they finally like introduced this QB vision deal.
Oh yeah.
When you played quarterback, you had to move the vision thing.
Yes.
Like his vision covers the entire field, because usually when you didn't have a vision on the receiver you was throwing it to, the ball was inaccurate. It didn't really have a lot of whatever velocity or whatever it was. But this guy can make a throw from anywhere across the field. Like, 'cause even when you play that game, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, their vision covered the entire field. All you had to do was just drop back and throw the ball where you wanted to. That's how I feel his arm is. His arm is incredible. Like you said, he can launch the ball from wherever he on his back foot and still throw it 50 yards on the line, on a rope. So just like I said, being a DB, just understanding, like, man, when you're a deep post safety, they're going to move the pocket for sure. They have one where they boot out to the left, but then he has a receiver running across the field, and he's literally throwing it directly across the field to the right. He's done it a few times. So just being disciplined in our zones, and us when we playing man to understand that, hey, the play is not over. And like you said, in the Miami game, he got one on Xavier Howard and the Mike Williams deep down the field, which is pretty impressive. But that's normal to him. Like, he just flick of the wrist, just launch the ball wherever he wants to.
Well, and I feel like it's so easy for people to lose track of that, because you see. I mean, if you're watching at home, obviously you and I are doing different things on game day. But like for people watching Red Zone at home, they just see these highlight spectacular plays, and it almost right. normalizes it. But like the degree of difficulty of the concept that you've just described, where he's rolling left and then throws it back across his body, like that's kind of insane.
Yeah, I mean, to be 100, like I feel like from when I used to watch football when I was a kid to where it is now, the quarterback position has just like gotten way better in my opinion. Them just like the arm talent. You got guys that's coming out straight out of college, like for example Trevor Lawrence, who has these arms just at the flick of the wrist, can make any throw around the field. Back then, or even when my rookie year, like the quarterbacks out there, like you kind of knew, okay, we can play to this guy's strengths. He can't really make all the great throws outside the numbers or whatever it may be. But these quarterbacks now coming out first overall, first round quarterbacks, these guys' arm talent are just like next level.
Titan safety Kevin Byard here with us before he hits the practice field, and we're always grateful for KB's time. So obviously you miss everybody who's not available to play at any given point, Kevin, but with Danico, and I'm sure it was good to see him back out on the practice field in a limited capacity yesterday. How much more effective does he make you guys, especially in like your nickel and dime, when it's him and Jeff on the inside and he gets the opportunity to work against a guard on a third down? And just, I mean, the way that he just clubs these dudes, it's crazy to watch back.
Yeah, Danico is not only one of the better players on our defense, just on the team, period. I mean, just the type of tone that he sets when he's out there on the field. I mean, obviously he's super tall, super long arms. I mean, the guy bats the ball down. I mean, I've gotten some interceptions off his tips as well. He's just an incredible player. Obviously, Jeff is getting double teamed. He's getting a lot of attention. But Danico can get those one-on-ones on those guards. Like I say, even he'll line up on the outside and rush as well. He's usually winning those one-on-ones every single time. So to be able to have him back out here at practice is obviously good. But to get him out there in the games, man, it would be big for, our pass rush and the type of games that, our defensive line and the pass rush they run.
Well, we certainly hope for your guys' sake that that's going to be the case here in the coming weeks. Continued health and success, KB. All right, got the injury report for you on this Friday, but first got to remind you that before you get ready for your NFL football, make sure you're wagering with Superbook Sports. They will match your first bet up to $1,000 win or lose. Incredible odds boosts and promotions on all your favorite sports, and more importantly, your favorite teams. They've got the Tennessee tab in the Superbook Sports app. Download it, click it, get those great odds boosts and promo bets on your favorite local squads. Titans, Vols, Preds, who are down bad, by the way, right now. Good God, so at least you can bet on them to make that experience tolerable. Superbook Sports is the app. Download it today, superbook.com. For terms and conditions, gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. All right, so out for Sunday's game against the Chargers: Christian Fulton, Traylon Burks, Trey Avery, Danico Autry, and Dontrell Hilliard, plus Amani Hooker. So the Hooker thing is obviously new. The usual suspects, all critical pieces for this team, and they're going to have to find ways to get pressure on Justin Herbert. There's no question. It's, I hate to boil it down to the lowest common denominator again, but it really just comes down to injury at this point. Consistently, these guys cannot field a football team. Now, Mike Vrabel said that Dylan Radins, the second-round pick who is not getting any kind of meaningful run unless they're forced into action due to injury, Mike Vrabel said it's possible that Dylan Radins will play multiple positions in the game against the Chargers. I don't know if that means a change at left tackle. I just know that that's different than what we've heard for basically the first 14 weeks of the NFL season. If they do it and it works, it could make a considerable difference as they try and figure out ways to keep the offense whole. But, man, have they been reticent to do that. And if it takes them this long to pull the trigger, they probably know something that we don't. So we'll see how it plays out. I'm headed out to L.A. You're hearing this podcast we're taping it on a Friday afternoon. I don't know when you're hearing it, but I hope you're enjoying your weekend. In the meantime, I'm heading out to L.A. Saturday morning. Obviously, we'll have full coverage of the game for you on A to Z Sports and A to Z Sports.com. So make sure you're following along on social media. Like I said, enjoy the game.